Have you ever just stared at a huge list of email contacts, knowing you need to send something out, but you're just dreading that cold, impersonal email blast? Yeah, we've all been there. But what if you could send a perfectly tailored personal email to every single person on that list and do it automatically? Well, that's exactly what we're going to build today, step by step, using the magic of Google Sheets.
So, first things first, why even bother with all this? The simple answer is that those generic, one-size-fits-all emails, they just don't cut it anymore. They have no context, they feel so distant, and let's be real, they usually look like spam. And you know what happens to spam? It gets ignored, or worse, deleted.
I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the classic, "Hi there." It's fine, I guess, but it's completely forgettable. But on the right, we're calling Rob by his name, we're mentioning the exact newsletter he signed up for. It is a night and day difference. One feels like it was sent by a robot, the other feels like the start of a real conversation.
Okay, so that leads us to the million-dollar question, right? How can we get that amazing result on the right, that warm, personal connection for hundreds, maybe even thousands of people without spending the next 3 weeks of our lives manually typing out every single email? Well, the answer is a classic but unbelievably powerful technique called a mail merge. Seriously, think of this as your new automation superpower. We're going to turn a simple spreadsheet into a personalized communication machine. So what is it exactly? Well, a mail merge is really just a process that grabs data from a source, in our case a Google Sheet, and it merges it into a template that you've already written. It finds these little placeholders you've left in your template and swaps them out with the real info for each person, creating a totally unique email every single time.
You know, when you boil it all down, there are really just 3 core parts to this whole thing. First, you've got your data sheet. That's your list of names, emails, whatever other info you have. Second, you need an email template, your master email with those special placeholders. And then finally, the magic happens. The script combines those 2 things to pump out a whole batch of perfectly personalized emails. Simple as that.
Okay, let's get practical. The entire foundation for this whole operation is built right on 2 simple tabs inside a single Google Sheet. This is where we get everything organized before we unleash the automation.
First up, your data sheet. Now, the setup looks really simple, but trust me, getting this part right is absolutely everything. Each column is a piece of info you might want to use. First name, newsletter name, you get the idea. Now, pay super close attention to these column headers. Why? Because they are the key. They're about to become our magic placeholders. And that brings us to our second tab, the template sheet. This is where you write your email subject and body just one time. And wherever you want to pop in a piece of personalized data, you use a placeholder. The format couldn't be easier. 2 curly braces, the exact column header from your data sheet, and then 2 closing curly braces. So when the script sees double braces, first name, double braces, it knows, aha, go find the first name column and stick that person's data right here. All right, with our data and our template all ready to go, it's time to build the engine that makes this whole thing run. We're going to use a simple Google Apps script. Now don't worry, you don't have to be a coding genius. We're not going to dive deep into the code itself. We're just going to look at what each part of the engine does so you understand the logic. So the heart of this whole operation is the main function, send emails. I want you to think of it like the conductor of an orchestra. It doesn't play every single instrument, right? But it tells all the other parts what to do and when to do it. It starts everything off, it fetches your template, grabs all the data, and then for every single person on your list, it loops through and tells the other functions to build and send one perfect email. And supporting our conductor are a few key specialists, our helper functions. The main send emails function calls them in order. First up, get data does exactly what it sounds like. It just fetches all the raw data. Then, rows to objects comes in and does something really clever. It packages up each row using those column headers as labels. And finally, you've got render template, which is the real workhorse. It takes the template and one person's data, finds all those HTTP placeholders, and swaps in the correct information.
All right, the sheets are set up, the engine is built. You know what? All the hard work is actually done. Now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to see the magic happen.
And this is the most beautiful part. After all of that simple setup, launching this entire powerful process comes down to this. You select that main send emails function we talked about, and you click one single button, Run. That's it.
And just like that, boom, the script zips through your list and out goes the perfectly personalized email. You can see how double first name and double newsletter name have been flawlessly replaced with Rob, and AppScript is awesome. I mean, come on, that is automation at its absolute finest. It's personal, it's powerful, and it's so efficient.
But here's the thing. This technique goes way beyond just sending emails. Once you really get this core idea of combining data with a template, you start seeing possibilities everywhere. Imagine automatically generating personalized invoices from a Google Docs template, or creating printable address labels for all your holiday cards. You could even build custom quizzes for a classroom. The principle is exactly the same.
And that kind of brings us to the final thought here. This isn't just some cool tech trick. It's a whole new way of thinking about your repetitive work. It's about taking the data you already have and making it work for you. So that just leaves one question for you to think about. What's the first tedious task that you are going to automate?